shuttle through. Okay, and we always, with the floating selvage, we always go over and then under, or one way or the other, all the way through. If you go over, then you need to do under, vice versa.
I at this point, I'd say yes. Over, from the side you're throwing, if you're throwing from the right, go over the right and then under the left. And when you're throwing from the left, go under the left and
so that you're doing the same thing.
Right.
From left, under, over. Is that correct?
Over, under.
So you do over, under both ways.
Yes.
Okay. So you change every time. Over, under. So you just do over, under, either way.
Over, under, over, under, over. Okay. Is that what you've been doing here?
Okay. And that makes...
Your selvages are very good, by the way.
Not further back, but good. I got better. I think it was the different thread too, somehow.
It's just experience.
Okay, and it seems like there was another question on the floating selvage, but I'm not sure. Did we talk about it?
I can give you a little tip.
Oh, I know what it was, but go ahead. Yeah, how much thread should you have unwound?
Yeah,
that's the trick.
Remind me, this is treadle number 1, because I'm going to want to undo it. All right, so you've depressed the treadle. Ideally, you want to throw the shuttle. You're going over the floating selvage here. You're going under the floating selvage here. You might have to manually lift it, but you want your you don't want it to be all the way at the edge.
This was the question I was just going to ask you.
When you throw, don't throw it so hard that it comes all the way to the edge.
But then don't you end up with little bubbles?
Throw so you have like that much hanging out. And then manually, slowly, without much tension, pull with your left hand in this case, pull so that the thread hits up against
where you want it.
And then you don't have to worry about throwing it so hard that you're pulling in.
Okay, so don't create this when you're throwing the shuttle. Create it after you have done.
Yes.
And she talked about the arc, and I saw that. So I saw what you did there. She talked about Karen. She talked about throwing that, having that arc of thread. Okay, so then the other question, I think both you and Tim had us beat once while the shed was open, and once, but not hard. Just do, because I tend to beat too hard. So once and then twice, and she didn't do that. So that was another one I wanted to clarify. I thought the way we were doing it, it was doing
the reason
twice.
you do that is because if you beat with an open shed, it distributes the weft evenly. If you have a closed shed, this creates too much friction, and your weft is not going to move back and forth within the shed. You want your weft thread to be able to move in the shed.
Okay, that answers another whole question that I had. So that's, and you're getting this on camera, so we'll have,
So I learned while you're formulating your question, I learned as I went back over this that I needed to improve my camera work too. And that's why I'm like getting really close to you, because it wasn't so great the first time around. You know,
But
I
you-
couldn't really see what you were talking about necessarily.
And we talked about minimizing the draw in, yes. And, okay, weaving a header is what she called it. What do you call it when you start out weaving?
Oh, I call it filler.
A filler, okay.
You know,
That's what, okay, filler. Okay, she said what she recommends doing to get it evened up is that you throw 3 rows of the fat thread before you beat. And she said if you have like 3 of them, you'll get the evenness sooner.
it's the same thing. You're using a larger, you always want to use a larger diameter yarn for your filler than what you're going to be
Yes.
using for your project.
Okay, so whether you throw it 3 times or just throw it once and then...
Yeah. That's a good idea, throwing it 3 times. I mean,
She said it will happen faster. You'll get there
it would
faster.
yeah.
Okay, for her tabby, this was very strange. She suggested just doing
Tying up?
she just tied up to the first 4 treadles. And so to get a tabby, she put her feet on either 1 or 3 or 2 or 4. Just literally put her feet on those 2 treadles. And instead of having the 5 and 6, just
Okay.
actually, I guess it was to teach to get that figured out that you're using to. I don't know why that was, but I thought that was curious.
It could be not all looms are going to have 6 treadles. Some 4-harness looms are going to have only 4 treadles.
Oh. So then you wouldn't have that option.
You wouldn't have that option.
Okay. The other thing that she did with her first weaving assignment was she did 3-inch increments. She did a tabby for 3, 3, and 3, and then she did a twill for 3, 3, and 3. And she had you use a different beating. She had you do like a moderate beat.
Oh, the strength
Then
of your beat.
a heavy one
yeah,
for 3 inches,
Oh, that's a
and
good
then
idea.
a light one for 3
Yeah,
inches,
that's good.
just so that you
can
could get
see you can see the difference in the
consistency. Well, and I think she was trying to get you to see the number of inches,
picks.
Yes.
Picks per
picks
inch.
per inch,
Right.
and how that would affect that. So
Yeah.
I haven't done that, but I might
That's a
do
good.
that
That's
for,
a good
for a couple of
exercise.
inches
That's a
and
good
just see
exercise. Right.
what that is. Okay, let's see. I think we've almost finished.
Would it be, would there be a reason not to tear out, a portion of this so I could start, doing more different things rather than a whole chunk of that? Rather than having to use up more of this and then go on to something else.
I wouldn't take it out.
Are you going to do another sampler?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're going to just do another sampler.
Right.
Okay.
I'll just do what I can to the end of this one.
Okay. And then the other question is
The reason when you take it out, it's very easy to make a mistake, and then you have to cut the thread, and
I thought it might be just because it would be stretching the thread.
that too. Anytime
Unnecessary
you're
activity.
manipulating the warp, you're
I think I was just looking for you to tell me that wasn't a good idea.
Okay. Now, this is a question because I'm not sure that I know what I'm saying. But I think, and I don't know, I think it was Tim that started this, but I think that, I know he had me doing 2 different shuttles. One was with the green and one was with the blue. And I think what he had me doing a tabby, I think, in between each
right.
throw
That's
of the design.
that's your overshot technique. Yeah.
Overshot.
Oh, fancy.
So as we're making our samplers, that might be something to do. But now how we sort that?
Well, you just let's do this. Go. You would do treadle number 1, and then
Treadle number 5.
how do you have these numbers? You have
Right and
and
left.
right. You do right, and then treadle number
So
2.
they would both be coming from the same direction? Oh.
It's just it doesn't matter which whether you do your pattern weft or your tabby weft first, whichever one.
But you would have them coming from the same
Yeah, they come from the
direction.
same side.
So 1 and 3 would come from the right.
Oh.
So 1 would come from the right,
Then
and then
one-
tabby 1, tabby right,
Tabby right, and
And
then
then
2 from
two,
the left.
and
Tabby
tabby
2,
2,
or
tabby
tabby left,
left.
right, would follow,
Hmm.
and then pattern 3, and then tabby
Tabby
right.
right. Oh, I think we need to
That
mess
sounds
with
fun.
that a little
Yeah.
bit.
That's what overshot. That's
And then
that's
when we
overshot.
start that, though, remember when we start that with those, now let's go back to that, whatever that page was, here, 89. When we start that, which one, what are we looking at, this one? Or
That's the way I do it, Only
Just
it's,
do 'em
it's
from-
not. That's not what
That's
I.
not
that's
exactly
not what,
right.
That's not what I do. But this is probably better. I just I have a little loop there, and then I have another little loop, and then the throw across. So my two little ends are together. She's got a
So when we put our shuttle, though, we have to figure out how we're doing our shuttle. So we would put our shuttle through, like when you open the shed, we'd put our shuttle through, like through,
I don't.
That
I
many?
I throw it all the way through and then pull it until the end is here.
oh.
I
But
don't.
then you, in other words, you're starting, you're not, wouldn't you do it the other way so you can start on one?
If I'm starting on one and from the right, I would throw it from the left first.
On 4 or on
No,
1?
on one.
Okay, on
on
the
one,
same
throw
one.
It, and then pull it until it was here.
Okay.
Beat that in. Keep your foot on treadle number 1.
Okay.
And then go back.
Okay.
And
And
then
it doesn't come out. It doesn't slide out because
because you beat it in.
Okay, so it'll
It does.
stay.
It has a tendency to want to slide
Loosen,
out. Yeah, you've got to
But you do it on one, and then you would do the tabby.
the same
same
exactly.
way.
I do the tabby the same way. I start the tabby the same way.
So we're saying this is good for overshot. Is that correct?
No, that's
What were you just talking about? This one, yes.
Well, it would be on the opposite side if we're starting. If we're starting with, you're saying that you would.
let me. Have you got a piece of paper I can scribble on? Anything will do.
I'll just give you something slightly hard.
Okay.
All right, so I throw this way and then pull it out until I have like that.
You throw from the wrong way.
You throw from the wrong way.
Okay.
And then your main throw is from the right. Same treadle. You go back.
So that's 1.
That's 1.
So can you put treadle 1? Just put T1 out there beside that. Okay, that's treadle 1.
Okay.
Then.
If you're following it with a tabby, you do it the same way. Throw from this side, loop, and go.
Oh, okay. Okay.
See how that's different than what
Yes.
is shown there.
Yes. Yes. She's flipping it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But this actually would work regardless.
Either way works.
But
But
wouldn't this also work if you're switching colors? Or not?
It would. Yeah.
It's
it
the
would.
same.
Yeah, it would.
So, something to play around with.
Yeah. Yeah. You need to get your turquoise out, girl.
When do you need to be leaving?
What time is
It's
it?
10 after 3.
I'm good until 4.
All right. Okay.
Are you going to have him do that?
I just want to point out one thing.
Absolutely.
When you do overshot, when you're adding that tabby in here,
And that is what Overshot is.
yeah, you're adding a tabby throw. It's going to expand your pattern this way. You see how Karen's pattern is
Very
horizontal.
wide.
It's very horizontal, where this is vertical.
Much more vertical.
Yeah.
But that would be the reason for playing with some of these patterns, just
Yeah.
to see what
Yeah.
happens with them when
And
you add that.
and typically in overshot, your tabby is the same as your warp, and your weft is a larger diameter than your warp, because it makes the pattern come out, stand out.
Oh. Well, actually, I think that blue was a larger.
Well, not much.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a little bit larger than the white. Your green is very
Finer,
small, very
yeah.
fine.
Huh.
Well, we're moving on.
I guess we're moving on.
I think that gets mine for the time being.
I mean, I don't think
Karen?
I really had a question about this. The question that we talked about together was just how to change the thread color, which we've just been looking at. So.
And that answered that.